Now, moving on, Persistent Systems is the first management on the show today as CNBC TV18 celebrates 26 years of leadership. We have with us Sandeep, Kalra, CEO and Executive Director at Persistent Systems, joining in. Sandeep, thank you very much for joining in. We're thrilled you're joining us on this special day. You know, the big debate right now is on whether what we're seeing in the global markets with respect to AI is a bubble. Whether all the investments that are going in will be productive, or will we see a crash similar to the dot-com crash? What is your view, and what is the impact you expect on various constituents, whether it's NVIDIA, Microsoft, to startups, and even services companies like yours?
Sure. So first of all, Rima, it's a privilege to join all of you today for CNBC TV18's 26th anniversary. Congratulations to all of you, the entire CNBC TV18 team, for making the channel a trusted voice for all of us. Now, coming back to your question, my short answer is AI is not a bubble. It is, again, there are two different things that we are talking about. One is the technology, the adoption of the technology, the impact in the longer run. The second is the valuations. Now, obviously, valuations is more, you can find more experts than me, but if we were to look at, in your parlance, the 3-4 constituents. So on one side, we have the chip manufacturers, like the NVIDIAs of this world, the AMDs, the Googles, the players like Broadcom who support all this ecosystem. In our mind, short to medium term, they are the biggest gainers because there's a lot of data center setup and many other things that are happening. And if you look at their order books, they are booked out for the next year, 2 years, and so on. So as far as the AI chip player is concerned, this is less of a bubble, more of a super cycle. Again, I'm not talking valuations. Valuations, there are other experts. If you look at clouds and cloud part, hyperscalers, the Microsofts, the Googles, the AWS, and so on, these guys are spending hundreds of billions of dollars in capex over the years. But they're also monetizing all of this through AI cloud services, developer tools, co-pilots, ads, commerce, depending on their business models and so on. So there is definitely a real revenue for them, real profitability that is being built over a period of time. So there is that component as far as they are concerned. And don't forget, as the enterprises consume AI, build more AI apps, they're going to consume more of Microsoft Azure, more of Google GCP, AWS, and so on and so forth. Now, if you look at the tech services companies like ourselves, we are going to be winners in the longer run on this, because having technology is one part, taking that technology in an enterprise context, building the business use cases, building newer business models, and so on and so forth, it requires a lot of system integration activity. So that's where companies like us, in the longer run, people who invest, understand this technology ahead of others, there's enough and more to be done. So I'll take a pause.
So will there be a period, a gap period between when the use cases really start, because right now the entire focus is on, everything is going into building these technologies, and the race is on. You think it'll start showing up in a big way for companies, Indian IT services companies, maybe 12 months out? I mean, what's your projection?
Yeah, so if you were to look at it, a number of these people are technology builders. A number of enterprises have already started adopting, while they may be in absolute initial stages. The first thing that people are doing is getting their data ready for consumption by AI. So even people like us are seeing bigger programs on that. So we are looking at AI in 3 parts. AI for technology builders. So the people we talked about earlier, how do we work with them? From a tech services perspective, what is the market for us? Second is where we are working with enterprises to get them data and AI ready. And even, some of the largest Fortune 500 companies, we are working with them. And we are big winners in the data and AI project related space. And so are a few others in our ecosystem. The third part is what people call agentic AI. That's in initial stages. For that, you need enterprise-wise data to be absolutely talking well to each other. Pockets of excellence exist in that. So that's a longer term journey. And I'm pretty sure, all of this, for the people who are building the technology ahead of others, it is showing in their revenues. Is it more than single digit revenue today? Not necessarily, but it is a multi-year journey. And let's say 3 to 5 years from now, there should be 30 to 40% or more AI native kind of a journey for many.
All right. 30-40% of revenues for IT services companies.
Yeah. Over the next 3 to 5 years. I'm not saying 3 to 5 quarters.
Yeah. No, I got that. Najib.
All right, Mr. Kalra, let's wrap this discussion up then with a quick word on the Indian rupee, because no discussion nowadays is complete without discussing the rupee. So tell us, what's the impact of the rupee depreciation on your business? Will we see some kind of margin tailwind coming on? And can you do better than that guided 200 to 300 basis points improvement in a bit margin over the next 2 years because of the rupee weakness?
So I'll not do the forward-looking guidance here. We are in the thick of the quarter, so I wouldn't want to comment on that. But if you look structurally over the last several years and decades, rupee has depreciated in a slower manner. Right now, for various structural, reasons, and you talked on this show earlier about the trade deals and so on and so forth. So there are macro that are impacting the shorter term thing. So shorter term, yeah, there will be a currency impact. But look, this industry is built not just on currency impact. That's one enabler for the industry. And I'll say a smaller enabler. In our mind, for the next 3 to 5 years, the biggest thing people have to pivot on is build capabilities on AI. And again, not next 3 to 5 quarters, but next 3 to 5 years, you will see significant amount of tailwind for our industry in this.
Sandeep, thank you very much for joining in. Short conversations. We've got a lot lined up on the show today. But Persistent, in their last conversation, had also reiterated $2 billion of revenue by FY27 and $5 billion of top line in the next 3 to 4 years. Get into a break.